Five Nights at Freddy's has been around for nearly 11 years now, and across the course of the past decade, this series has had no shortage of teasers and trailers to get the community hyped up for the next big release. Whether a new game from Steelwool, a fun little spin-off game from Scott, or even a new movie, these trailers always excel at building lots of hype and anticipation for the latest project from the franchise. As great as all these teasers are though, nothing can beat the pure magic that was put into the classic trailers for the original games. Now maybe this whole video is just me being nostalgic, but there's just something about these that itch my brain in such a way that the newer trailers could simply never compete with. Today, I want to discuss what makes FNAF's classic trailers so good and why we will likely never have anything quite as special as these early teasers ever again. Before we start, be sure to like the video if you like it and subscribe for all things Five Nights at Freddy's. With that out of the way, let's dive into the magic of FNAF's original trailers. I suppose I should point out which trailers I'm talking about first. These 5, for the first 5 games, are the ones I will be discussing in this video. After the first Sister Location trailer, we don't get another official trailer until nearly 3 years later for Help Wanted. And by that point, Steelwool has taken over the creation of these, and they don't feel quite like the originals. One more thing, and I'll touch on this more towards the end of the video, I don't think the new trailers are bad by any means. I just think that they don't quite have the same touch to them as the old ones. You'll see what I mean as we go on, but I suppose let's just start with the very first trailer we ever got for Five Nights at Freddy's. Where do I even begin with this? The simple nature of this trailer is pure perfection. This thing is 34 seconds of nothing but true passion. You all know the story of Scott Cawthon at this point. FNAF was a final, desperate attempt at his dream of game development before he was going to give it all up entirely. You can tell he was putting his all into hyping up this game, and a big part of that was this trailer. Looking back at it now, it's definitely aged, but not in a bad way, in more of a charming way. It gets straight to the point and tells you exactly what you're walking into. This trailer also features a staple of all of Scott's trailers, these short blobs of text that pop up every few seconds. During the day, it's a place of joy, but you aren't here during the day. The spooky audio stingers that play as the text pop up is surprisingly effective at making the game feel at least a little scary. I know 11-year-old 2014 me was absolutely losing my mind at this thing. I was so scared just from this trailer that I wouldn't leave my room at night because I was scared that the scary pizza bear was hiding right outside my door. Another thing that this first trailer really excels at is the contrast between the day and night. Take a look at these first couple of clips of Freddy and his crew. The bright colorful lights, families cheering in the background, and the very clearly animatronic movements all come together to make a cheerful scene. That scene very quickly shifts in this part of the trailer when we begin looking through the security cameras. The scenes get much darker from here on. The movements become far more creepy and haunted at this point, which provides a good progression for the trailer. I think a fun thing about this part is that you can tell Scott did truly have a fear of Bonnie. If you didn't know, Scott has said multiple times that Bonnie was the only one of the original crew he was actually scared of, and seeing that reflected in the trailer for the game is a very interesting detail. He quite honestly took an unnecessary risk using Bonnie for a majority of the shots, rather than the main bear himself, which would be far more recognizable considering he is in the name of the game. That's another thing that makes this trailer just true magic in my eyes. In the grand scheme of things, this one may not have been nearly as important as the next ones I'm going to cover, but I still believe that this trailer helped make FNAF as popular as it is, and it still stands up surprisingly well to this day. I believe the simple nature of it is what really connects with me and a lot of other people who are now lifetime fans of the series. After the truly insane success of the first game, there was an unbelievable amount of pressure on Scott to deliver with the second game. While we could discuss the gameplay of this game, I don't like it in the slightest. We're not here to talk about that. Instead, I want to talk about just how much hype this damn trailer alone managed to generate for the series. Quite simply, this thing is peak. That's it. That's the whole section. Just kidding, of course. Let's talk about why this thing is amazing. Keep in mind that this trailer had to be good. FNAF was one of the biggest things online at the time, and the hype had to keep going. We start off with something amazingly effective at being creepy.
Falling down, London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Yeah, this thing still sends chills down my spine. In contrast to the first trailer, this one is immediately trying to be scary. It then pans to Withered Bonnie, which the community has seen before through teasers on Scott's site, giving a brief glimpse into the true horror that awaits. As if this wasn't hype enough, we then get to hear a familiar voice.
Hello? Hello? Well, if you're hearing this, then chances are you've made a very poor career choice.
Now, I want you to think back to the FNAF community around the time this trailer was released. People had so many different theories on who this could possibly be, so throwing his voice in here near the start is genius. Scott is very special when it comes to teasers, and he knew exactly what he was doing with this one. This trailer also does a similar thing to the first one, with text on screen between shots every few seconds. The way they're done here, though, is a lot more planned out and intentional than the first one. Forgotten, dismantled, deactivated. These show up between renders of the Wizards. It's really quite simple, but so effective at portraying what this game is really about and what awaits you in-game. The other text we get is more related to the gameplay, which is another thing this trailer does really well. It has a good mix of both renders and actual gameplay, which I think really helps it. Anyways, the other text we get is about what you'd expect, but the last set of text is really what stands out. This had everybody freaking out about this game, and brought loads of questions with it. It added fuel to the fire when it came to people's interest in this new game. Immediately after, a withered Foxy jump scare plays. This trailer does everything right, and significantly better than the already solid trailer for the first game. The thing I really love about it is that it's still simple. It had one goal on release, to hype up the community, and sitting at 10 million more views than the first one, it clearly did an amazing job. I think I'm finally starting to figure out why I like these trailers so much. They do a damn good job at generating hype, which is exactly what a trailer should do. Don't get me wrong, the new trailers are good. They're objectively more well made than any of Scott's trailers ever were. They just don't have the touch of a desperate game developer almost losing out on his dream. The passion is there from Steelwool, but Scott's trailers have way more personality in them. You can see the love and energy he put into every decision made in these trailers. It's now time for the third game to come out, and with it, another trailer. This one is a big one in terms of hype for the series. At this point, we had quite a few loose threads within the lore, one of the most anticipated games of all time, and a dedicated community ready for the next release. This trailer follows a similar pattern to the first two, with Scott's signature text between shots. This one is different in its intentions, however. This 65-second trailer has about 2 seconds of actual gameplay, and a whole minute of vague yet exciting lore hints. It's easily the simplest of any FNAF trailer, but it's one of the most effective that has ever been made. We first get a couple of shots in a location that was previously never seen in the series, with a few text shots talking about a certain someone who always comes back. Hey, this guy kind of looks like me a little bit. The atmosphere built here is ominous and chilling, and makes it feel like something big is about to happen. The next thing we see is a weird inclusion without the context of the game itself. A shot of the original band, minus the pirate fox, just kind of standing there. Its inclusion is actually genius and led to a lot of talk and even more hype in the community. Remember that at the time, Scott had a whole website dedicated to posting teaser images for these games, and for FNAF 3 these were hinting at this being long after the first two games. That made seeing the original animatronics completely unchanged very intriguing. We then get one of the best shots ever created in a Five Nights at Freddy's game. It's simple, just an old rotting suit twitching, cast in a dim, flickering light. This was an absolutely massive reveal at the time. Our first look ever at who we now know as Springtrap. Well, not our first look, but our first real look. This suit was different from anything we've ever seen in the series to that point, and the reveal alone makes this trailer stand out and justifies the fact that it is the most viewed FNAF trailer ever, beating out even Security Breach by an insane 22 million views. This shot is perfect, and it just shows what I mean when I say these trailers had magic put into them. At the tail end, we get the title of the game, followed by a jump scare. This is yet another thing that becomes tradition to Five Nights at Freddy's trailers, most featuring some form of a jump scare title card combo, even to this day. Overall, the FNAF 3 trailer is absolutely teeming with that magic touch I've been talking about. It's simple, yet easily the most effective we've gone over so far. It's peak FNAF. Another thing about this time in the series is that we didn't have any other media. No books to add to the lore, spin-off games to create confusion, nothing like that, which adds to how exciting this trailer is. At the end of the video, I want to go a little more in detail into that point, but for now, onto the best of the original 4 games, Five Nights at Freddy's 4. This one checks similar boxes to the others covered so far. It's simple, short, and it's got the text between shots. The main selling point of the FNAF 4 trailer is the actual scare factor. It does an incredible job at just being a really scary teaser for a truly horrifying entry in the series. Take this first part, for example, the scene where the hallway is being lit up by nothing but a flashlight flicking on and off. This is quite possibly the simplest shot from any of these things, but it's the scariest one too. The anticipation is immense. The buildup from the simple possibility of something being there the next time the light shines. It's perfection, really, simple as that. Remember, this is just the start. It only gets more terrifying from here. This one, just like the actual games, has such different vibes from the previous ones. The main thing is obviously the setting. Being in a house is a very stark contrast to all the previous games. This one is also different from the others because of its content, featuring all gameplay and no renders. I think this shows just how effective Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is in general at being a horror game. The parts used are all fantastic choices, showing off just enough to make the game intriguing while not revealing too much about it. This is an aspect of the trailer that has actually carried over to the newer ones, Ruin and Secret of the Mimic being prime examples of this. We end off with the tradition of a jump scare and title card, and I want to point out something cool about this one. It features Nightmare Bonnie. which feels like it was a highly deliberate choice from Scott. If you remember earlier, I talked about how Bonnie was the scariest to him. Similar to the first trailer, Freddy isn't the main star, but rather Bonnie getting the main jump scare slot, the most rewatched part of the entire thing. I just saw that as a really neat detail about this one that most people probably will never ever think about. This one focused significantly less on the lore and way more on just being a frightening trailer, and it does an amazing job at that. It sticks to being surprisingly simple, yet conveys a large amount of fear and true horror. It is very effective, but in the overall scope of the series, it was kind of released at a weird time. FNAF 3 was supposed to be the last, but in true Afton fashion, FNAF came back. While this one likely still generated a good amount of hype, I feel it was significantly less than the FNAF 2 or 3 trailers. Still, it's a great trailer, maybe my favorite, and truly does a great job at showing how terrifying the game is. Moving on to the final trailer for today, Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I don't like this game. That being said, I will put aside my dislike to talk about its trailer because it's actually a really solid one. The Sister Location trailer 1, still waiting for the second one like 10 years later, is yet again in a similar style to the others. Shots separated by text dominate this one. However, it has evolved on the style quite a bit. It first builds hype with quick one-word text pop-ups in between clips of the first 4 games. Honestly, it's a pretty clever way to get someone excited early in the trailer. Showing these old characters and locations will remind fans of what's happened so far and help create contrast for the characters we will see later on in the trailer. We then switch it up by adding no text and just doing quick black screens between various shots of this so-called sister location. These show the viewer a bit of gameplay, and like all the others, don't reveal too much. The rest of this trailer is an introduction to the characters you will encounter in this game, and boy are these some damn good renders. Again, simple but effective. The animatronics are shiny, new, and very advanced looking, leading to contrast with what we've seen up to this point in the series. Now, I could go on and on about these designs and the way he uses them here, but essentially they lead to a spooky welcome from the Funtime cast of characters. There is text between each character, and the stuff is very lore heavy. At the time, it led to a ton of theories and just talk within the community in general, something that always comes from these trailers. Towards the end, we see the whole cast performing together under some colorful lighting. This shot also puts a lot of attention and curiosity on Circus Baby. This was a fantastic thing to include in this trailer and hints at what would be going on in the actual game very well. This is yet again followed by a title card jump scare, which never gets old. There was a significant amount of time and effort put into every detail of this trailer, and you can tell. This one was big at the time for everyone, with books starting to release around the same time. It is truly amazing how much this game grew in such a short amount of time. With all that being said, I know why these trailers feel so different from the modern ones. Here's the thing. As we just covered, these trailers are so simple. The reason that they're so damn good and really feel like magic is because of the context that surrounded them on release. Let me use an example here. Secret of the Mimic is great. Good game, fun gameplay, and amazing lore. The trailer for it is good too, but it just feels different. If you step back from the trailer and look at the series as a whole up to that point, it makes sense why it's not as magical as Scott's trailers were. Looking at previous games, and especially these books, we knew a lot of what was going to be there already. The Mimic, Edwin Murray, the MCM, even some of the characters' suits in the game were talked about in the books already. Books that had been out for a year or two, meaning that there wasn't much actual new content to this trailer. Combine that with the Help Wanted 2 teaser, and the fact that people got to play the game almost a year ago at PAX, and it really brings down the amount of hype that this thing could have realistically brought in. Compare that to FNAF 3, for example. This game was coming out just a few months after the second one, and there were no books to tell us the lore beforehand, no early gameplay at any cons. The only thing we got were a couple of teaser images, and that's it. To put it simply, the newer trailers suffer because of all the content we get outside of them, while the older ones thrived on the lack of information surrounding the games. The older ones are also quite charming, while the newer ones feel far more generic. Again, they're not bad, just very safe and expected decisions are made with the modern titles compared to the old ones, leading to them feeling a bit basic. Now, did this need a 22-minute video? Probably not. Did I want to yap about old FNAF trailers and use this as an excuse? Yeah, I did do that. But it's my channel, so what are you going to do about it? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it as that helps me out a ton, and subscribe for more FNAF content. If you want to collab on something, email me at this email. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time, superstars.